Okay, welcome back, as they say. My mic's on. Check, check. Okay, so today I want to talk with the YouTube land and my 32 possible watchers. I have to do a podcast soon about, or with my friend Phil, and then I have to do one about being the father of the bride. So those are my next important ones, hopefully sooner than later. This one, I don't know if it's easier. I don't know if it's what I think about. So it's natural for me to like want to speak about this, but I'll just get into it. I already did one about motivation and what it looks like, but I recently had to have a conversation with someone at the football field, and it was a lady, you know, middle through 40 through 50, I don't know. And, you know, average lady, great lady. But my thought was like, I was speaking with motivation, and we're just talking about life, but she was like so inspired. I could just see her light up. And that's what I do. So, I mean, it's not like uncommon, but I forget sometimes like how inspirational you can look to those who truly are uninspired. We kind of forget like that we have joy and have life and we have hope, and things that weigh people down are honestly like our motivation a little bit, because we look at like what's hard and difficult, and let's navigate with the Lord through these things. So Christians should have like a different mindset of tenacity, quote unquote grit, if you will, or old school, like, grind. I don't know what you call it, but like you just kind of, you kind of get excited in difficulty for many reasons. You know that God says He produces endurance, perseverance, hope, patience, right? All of these things. So we're benefiting in our struggle. I think we forget that the world isn't benefiting. They're just pissed and frustrated and mad. So having said that, I'm talking a little bit today about inspiration, determination, discipline, elimination, learn how to be rejected or rejection, and then momentum and motivation. So motivation is the last, and that's what I was talking to this lady about. And she was asking like, oh, like you looking, she said, like, she literally said, oh, you look in great shape, and she looks at me and then she goes, how old are you? And I told her I'm 48. She goes, okay, oh, great shape, whatever. And I'm like, well, thank you. And we were talking about like the kids in the field and how they had like no body fat and they're all young and stuff. And she was presenting her age, if you know what I mean. And she was so motivated because she was like, how do you like seeing me just do it every day or work out? Because I told her I was going to run the track. And I said, it just stop being hard. You commit to things first. And so this is what I'm talking about. Here's my list, and I'm going to run through these things so that you guys in YouTube land can hopefully take some of this to heart. I mean, one of the things that I have aspired to do is do everything through the Bible, do everything through the Christian worldview, if you will. So I'm not just making these things up. I read a lot of books and I study a lot of things, and I study even worldly people sometimes. And the secular world has something to offer if they line it up with truth first. And so like, I like guys like, Jordan Peterson and, Dr. Uberman and all of these guys. And there's a lot of people out there and you can listen to, right? And there's pockets of nuggets and truth of, from a lot of people. So I don't want to discredit truth, because you can't do anything against truth, only for truth. So in fact, I just heard a great quote where he said, the truth does not have to exist to have a lie, but a lie has to exist for the truth. No, strike that. A lie does not have to exist for the truth to be the truth, but the truth has to exist for a lie to be a lie. I'm like, wow, that's pretty powerful. Like the truth is it, and there's always a second, a lie is a second. Anyhow, I digress. How to be motivated, how to continually stay motivated for your goals. hopefully the dreams that God has given you, not the dreams of your lust, not the dreams of your pride and your ego, not the self-centered made man for or person or woman, whatever, for you to be your best in the world, but to be God's best on earth. And it's a very different way of life, but this is for those who struggle like me, who have always, how do I stay motivated, right? And I look at my life through all the difficulties and all of the faith moves that I've had where it was bleak on every corner. I mean, I had zero opportunities and hope sometimes in life. And one, it drew me closer to the Lord because I was able to depend upon Him and hope in Him. But then how do you go get a job, right? And how do you keep your dream alive? How do you, when you're not making any money, how do you even take that, what you don't have, and put it into your business or put into what you want to do? How do you, stay in shape when you're just getting old and no one cares and, you're not even doing it for a sport anymore? How do you keep motivated? And that's what I'm going to talk about. Today's really topic is all about motivation. Maybe because I woke up today very, very unmotivated. And yet it has nothing to do with feeling anything about motivation. Sometimes it's funny because I go in these things, but a lot of times when I feel zero motivated, I'm not relying on motivation. I'm relying on determination, which is let's break this down. So the first step that you need before motivation is inspiration. Write this down if you can. Inspiration, and these are well thought out, by the way. 28 years of putting my life together, how I got good at snowboarding, how I like skateboarding, and how I was competitive for running and all these. How did my brain say that? Even when those weren't my things, I was fully careered and all this. I had a lot of things about family and stuff. How do you stay focused without losing, making it your God, right? I think that's what I'm really. How do you make it not your God to be the best of the best, but yet to thrive in who God made you to be? How do you stay motivated? Inspiration. It's almost like the why. They say you can endure any how if you know the why. What are you doing for? What's the motive? Hence the commercial or the title of my little show is Motives Matter. Motives matter because motives do matter. And so at least they matter to the Lord. They may not matter to your friends or your parents or your cousins, whatever, your coaches, but they matter to somebody, God. And to me, you give me someone who has a correct motive for what they want to do, man, sky's the limit. You give me someone with ulterior motives and fake motives and lies and deception behind who they are, it's never going anywhere. They're always going to be a dead, kind of dead end. Even in business, you just don't want to work with people who are just for the money. That doesn't work. Be in it for people who want to see that business successful for their deep motivated reasons. And I'll talk about this. So inspiration, how did you get inspired? Something inspires you, okay? Maybe this video today, maybe it was a pastor's Sunday teaching. Maybe it's 4th of July weekend and you're inspired by the veterans that served. Whatever inspires you, you have to, from that inspiration, okay? You get a light bulb. Something turns on a light bulb and you go, I want to, okay? I want to serve the military. I want to be an athlete. Maybe you watch the Super Bowl and you go, oh. It's funny because right now we're playing soccer tomorrow. It's the World Cup. And I'm not a soccer player, but I work with, one of my boxing students he was a soccer player for most of his high school and his years at club and stuff. So he played high school soccer. And then another one played soccer, and then our church is doing the soccer because of the World Cup, right? And people get motivated. And I've seen this with the Olympics when snowboarding was first in the Olympics. Yeah, I'm that old. Everyone became a snowboarder, and snowboarding became a thing. Skateboarding, when the X Games came out, and all of these big things came out for skateboarding. The SLS games and stuff, everyone was a skateboarder, and so you see these fads and people come in and go, and it's not bad, but they get inspired, okay? But what makes the next level is determination. So they get inspired by the World Cup, but that goes nowhere. goes zero if you don't do something about it. And that's not motivation. That's just an inspiration. That's just an idea, a concept. I want to go to college. I want to get a degree. I want to, make this girl like me or this boy like me. Like, you have this inspiration to build something, right? Very healthy. But what's the next step? The next step is determination. Determination. You have to determine within your soul and your heart and your mind that this is going to be a part of what you want to do. Determine. Make a decision. Cut off. In fact, to decide is D, right? Divide, side is like faith, but you're making it, you're deciding, you are making by faith a declaration that you're cutting off everything else. Not choices. This isn't multiple choice, A, B, C, and D, and you're gonna pick maybe one and then maybe multiple choice. I'll do them all, right? You make a decision not to do other things. I have consciously made many decisions in my life that I've said no to that. I'm not doing that lifestyle. It's not going to happen, very consciously. And then I made decisions where I've said, I want to do that very consciously. Let me tell you a funny scenario with pickleball. A year and a half, I was getting old and skateboarding was going nowhere for me. Skateboarding has been kind of going downhill since I was probably 42. It was consistent, I had some fun and good days, every now and then some good days. But you're getting old and I don't want to throw myself down 10 stairs and I'm not getting any better. And I would try and do it. And so my son started coming up, so we started skateboarding, he started liking it and I could see the future for him. But for me, while Robert kept rolling his ankles, he likes football, so that he couldn't do that. And he's a good football player. So with that, and I knew all the injuries with skateboarding and I just knew how skateboarding works. I'm like, he's really good at football and he's got strong ankles, so why take the risk, in skateboarding? Jumping down 20 stairs is different. Now, trust me, I know there's a lot of injuries in football, so I understand the injury rate for sure. Injuries are part of sports, but I'm just saying, what's the payout? Skateboarding has a very little payout compared to, even lower level football guys can make decent money. And so my pastor, he was asking me, do you play pickleball? And I said, yeah, I do play pickleball. And then he goes, oh yeah, when did you start? I said, well, about a year and a half ago now. I said, I made a conscious decision to say, we are gonna play pickleball because I'm giving up skateboarding and my son is going to help me, be my partner for the future to play pickleball. And I thought this out very consciously. I played a couple games, 1 or 2 games before I even decided, but then I decided this is gonna be my life now. And I've been true to that determination for a year and a half. I know it's people, I didn't test it out. I didn't try it I made a conscious determination that I'm gonna play pickleball. Why? I'm getting older. It's something I can go into my, 50s and 60s and still be fairly competitive because you can't compete in other sports. I'm too old. I don't want to. My body, is falling apart. It doesn't take a massive amount of time of buying. There's a lot of good reasons. And I thought this thing as being, a sports guy, I thought a lot of realities behind the sports, and my son can grow into it and it won't kill him while he's doing football, and he can continue to be my good partner. And his athleticism will improve overall, but it won't take away from football. And so, long story short, I made this conscious decision, determination. I determined within myself, what about a business? I determined to make these businesses go. I am determined to make my fitness continue, okay? My runs, swimming, I continue. Let me give you an example again, what I'm talking about with fitness. I was talking with that lady yesterday, and I was saying, oh yeah, if the track is full because some of the track and field people started to come, and at the high school, sometimes they won't let you run. And so I said, see, most people are thinking, well, then I'll just stop for the day. It's too hot. I said, no. In my mind, all I'm thinking is I'm gonna run on that track. And if they shut me down and I cannot run on that track because of the high schools using it for the morning, whatever, I said, I'm going straight to the park, or I'm going to figure it out. I'll go measure 600 meters or whatever I was running 400 meters. I will go to the gym and run on the treadmill. Like I'm determined. I'm not motivated. I'm determined. And it's the same thing with business. I'm determined to make PE work, right? My little brand, PE, I'm determined. Whether you like it, whether my mom likes it, whether my dad likes it, whether my cousin likes it, it doesn't matter because I'm inspired, but I know how this works because I'm old and I've studied enough. God never told him, well, multiple choice, and if people agree with you, you got to get that out of your mind. So determine this stuff you want to do. I play pickleball because I determined a year and a half ago that I'm going to play pickleball for probably the rest of my life or until, I can't anymore. And I am. And I'm very young at pickleball. I plan to put in at least 5-10 years before I call myself competitive, and we'll see how that works. Maybe I'll get worse. Maybe I'm older. I don't know, but I'm getting better in another sport, so I might as well try that. Discipline. After determination is discipline. By the way, there's 7 things if you guys want to keep track. Discipline. Discipline is a massive part of it. Learn how to be disciplined within that determination. So you determine to do something, fitness, health, whatever, read a book, go to school, and then you become disciplined in that. Once again, you eliminate motivation and you go into discipline. I am going to make this work. Now, it's easier for people who are tracked or have a job. And the reason why I mostly talk with entrepreneurs and the young entrepreneurs, but like even all my friends are pretty much entrepreneurs and businessmen. And the reason why is because it is two different, it's almost like, a different software compatibility. It's like, Apple and Samsung. They're very different because in a job, you're told if you don't show up, you're going to get fired. So that's pretty good discipline, right? In your business, you don't have to make the flyer. You don't have to get up and go knock on doors. You don't have to go and be on time. You don't have to do a lot of things in your own business. You don't have to market yourself. You don't have to build a brand. You do that by discipline, okay? You make flyers, you do whatever. You make your new cards, you hire people, you do your employee. Whatever it is you do with your business, you're building it by discipline. Next one is elimination. You have to eliminate certain things in your life, certain things to keep the motivation, okay? I remember at a Bible college, there was this really wise man, and he was teaching through the book of Proverbs. Really old dude, oh my gosh. I remember him just being like 100. I was like, dude, this guy's like 100. But I'm gonna take it for wisdom because he's old. I'm sure he's no longer with us, but man, he was old back then. Oldest man I've ever heard like in life. I think he was literally like 84 or something like that. But he was spry and doing his thing. But he was just like, I'm like, this guy's old. And he would always say, if you look in the Bible, everywhere that God says put on, he says put off, put on. So he'd say put off the old man and put on the new. Put off unrighteousness and put on righteousness. He would say, don't look at the girl, that's lustful or sinful, but look at the righteousness of God. So there's always, every time God tells you not to do something, he doesn't just leave you hanging to dry and say, don't do that, be bored. He says, go do something in place of that in the good. And that is very wise. I remember thinking, interesting. So every time I eliminated, back then, alcohol from a decision I was going to go drink on Friday night, I would put on athletics. How about I go for a workout? How about I go skate? How about I go do something positive? Every time you make a decision that you don't want to do something, make a positive decision to go do something better. It's not just boring, right? And I think that's the thing. If you want to be lazy for a night and you just don't want to go hang out with friends, maybe just stay in and read the Bible. You don't just have to not go hang out with friends. Go read the Bible. Put on something. So it's a beautiful thing to eliminate. You want to eliminate things in your life, okay? It could be some people. It could be friends. That's a massive part of life. To eliminate certain people that are not bringing you up. That is a real deal. And I encourage everyone to learn how to, you may don't have to kick them to the curb, right? But in wisdom, just eliminate their reality and their processing from yours because it's negative. It's degrading. It's basically calling you to be less than who God made you to be. The next one for gaining motivation is momentum. You've got to have some momentum by this time. Once you start doing this, once you're inspired, you have determination, you get discipline, and you eliminate some things from your life, you will absolutely have some momentum in your life. And now it's starting to go, okay, this works a little bit. This is a trajectory of where I'm going. And you like it, and it's good. And you still not be motivated. You still may not wake up and go, oh, I'm the motivated guy. I want to do all these things. Yet, but you're working towards the motivation, and that's like step 5. Step 6, which I like, is rejection. Okay, you have to learn how to be rejected. Now, the easy part, the easy example, and I'll give you the easy one and the hard one. The easy one is sales. In business, you have to learn how to be rejected. That's easy. That's the easy example, because you go door to door, ask people for your services. They don't want it. It's too bad. Okay. You get rejected all the time. I put out bids all the time. 20 bids, I get 1. That means 19 rejected me. This is a part of reality. Now, actually, I don't get rejected that much, which is kind of good. But that you have to learn how to take rejection very, very well. It's not personal. It's not against you. Just look at it as it's a part of the process, okay? The hard part for rejection and learning how to deal with rejection and learning how to be rejected would be more like your friends and your family and their ideals and concepts of you. They will absolutely, and this goes into elimination a little bit on step, on number 5. You got to eliminate some people. You just have to. But the rejection will come from some of the people that you thought were like your best friends or your buddies, or your girlfriends or your boyfriends. Like, rejection is real. You have to learn how to succeed while being rejected, because people will constantly be negative, tell you no, like I said, the sales thing, but they'll go against your ideas. I think the number one thing that I've seen over, my adult life is whenever you get an idea that you want to see come forward, it actually, people will almost automatically come against it. And I think it's spiritual. It varies because of people will come right. You get an idea. Let's just say, I'm gonna invent a boat. I'm gonna create a boat or something random. But let's just say, the next morning that you wake up, you're going to tell your friend, oh my gosh, dude, I think I want to create boats. I got some aluminum here. I know how to tack weld or whatever, TIG weld. You got some skills, hopefully. Whatever happens, you're going to invent a boat or create a boat. They will come, most likely in seconds, people go, you're crazy. That's such a dumb idea. That's what you're going to get immediately. I almost looked at some of my ideas and I go, as soon as I hear that negative, I actually get excited now. It's the weirdest thing. I almost am wanting people to come up against my ideas because it strengthens actually what I've been processing for 28 years and going, okay, now I'm onto something. This is actually pretty cool, because I know how the devil works. I know how the flesh works. I know how the psychology of mankind. Basically, it's like, since they can't do it, they don't see how you're going to be able to, start this business or make this sale or, get this degree. They don't understand, because a lot of people don't have hopes and dreams. They just want that that job. That's what people are just going to take that job. And so that is learn how to be rejected is a massive part of it. And you can actually not take it personal. One of the greatest pieces of advice that I've ever heard, and I'm learning this too, is when you get a good idea, take it to someone that will be a hater, throw that idea out there and let them shoot every idea down. And then if you can't fix what they're saying in your brain or paperwork, take with all their negatives and go to paper and pen and go, okay, he said I will never be able to create a boat. Why? He said there's not enough, market for it. Okay, and then troubleshoot those. He just helped your business. He's helping you see, because he's the negative Nelly, and you want the negative Nelly in your business because you got to figure out what won't work, right? I mean, that's mostly what business is actually figuring out more negatives than it is positives, but not being rejected or not feeling like you're rejected. Learn how to take rejection is number 6. Last but not least, and we're perfect on time because I'm going to finish right now, is motivation. Learn how to finally be motivated. So we went through inspiration, determination, discipline, elimination, momentum, learn how to be rejected, and finally you will arrive at my number 7, which is motivation. And that is a key to, I don't want to say unlocking because I hate those terms, but it's a key element that I've learned. I'm not stopping this freight train. You can either get on or get off. You can either help or whatever in my way. It doesn't matter, because when you have that understanding, when God gives you a vision, you're going to walk with him and nothing else matters. Motivation will come and go, right? All of these things will come and go. But as you determine in your heart, as you discipline yourself, as you eliminate those negative Nellies, as you build momentum, and as you learn how to handle rejection and know that it's not personal. They're not coming against you and saying, you're a bad person, your product's horrible, right? Your ideas are bad. It's not you. Okay, it's just life. It's human nature. And I maybe everyone knows this now. I mean, we should know this. I didn't learn this until the last couple of years of my life. Everything people had said, I thought, maybe they are right. And then you realize, wait, maybe they're not right, which is very interesting because I did so much before even having an understanding. I just waited in my head. Now it's no longer in my head. Now it's like I use it for my benefit. So it's a completely different world. And finally, you will get motivated. So learn how to do that, and you will be a motivated person. You'll wake up and have some serious motivation in your soul and your spirit. People wonder why, man, this guy's always motivated. He's always getting stuff done. He's always, shaking and baking, even when you don't want to, even when it doesn't look like you're doing anything, even when you're down and out, even when you're at the bottom. It doesn't matter, because you have these steps as a security blanket. You have these 6 steps to get to the 7, right? That 6th step is like all by faith. It's all by vision. It's all by maybe hope, but hope can be very bleak. And so I no longer operate from those or from motivation. I don't. I operate from inspiration. What am I doing here in life? Determination. What is the determining factor of how I'm going to do this? I decided. Then discipline. I will be a disciplined person. Elimination. Lots of things have to go. Momentum. Now we're going on a freight train, picking up speed, right? What's in motion stays in motion. Learn how to be rejected. Don't take yourself that seriously. And if you do, no, it is absolutely not personal. It is not a personal thing. And last but not least, you will acquire motivation. Have a fantastic day.